Thank you for coming and joining me and talk with Gina. I'm so excited. All of you know every single week I'm excited to see all of you because I do my best. I do my very best to bring some great content to all of you. You know, first I wanted to ask you all to do me a huge favor and click like and subscribe. I also want all of you to take the time out and just reach out to about 5 people and let them know that we having a dynamic show on today. All right? Can we do that? Can we help one another? Because, you know, Talk with Gina is about learning, it's about inspiring, and it's about uplifting. Today's show, I have a fantastic guest. You know, I've been following him. Someone told me about him a little bit ago. It was actually my dentist because we talk about all things wellness. And he put me up on this gentleman, and I was just like, wait a minute. I didn't even know who he is. And I started following him, and it's been nothing short of amazing as far as the information that he is disseminating and helping folks. So please, I want all of you to help me welcome Patrick Delves. He is a master herbalist, and he is highly sought after. Patrick, I'm bringing you in. Patrick. Yay! I'm so excited. Please, everybody understand that Patrick has been traveling. This gentleman has just returned from Canada. So we've been on the phone with one another trying to make sure that we have all of the logistics set up and everything. So we went from Grenada. Yeah. Because Patrick is from Grenada. He was driving. He was like, "Oh, Gina, call me." So we went from Grenada to New York to he was on your way to Canada. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And now you're here. Yes. Welcome. So again, this is the infamous Patrick Delves. I mean, always doing these fantastic lives. He's helping so many people with his expertise. And what I really want to start with is you telling everyone, how did this begin with you? Because you're out here helping everybody, but how did it begin, Patrick? Talk to me. Let us know.
Well, you know, I was also a sick person, you know.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people didn't know that. So let me know what happened.
Yeah, I had high blood pressure, and I got a stroke, you know. And I got a stroke when I was only 32 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I used to have epilepsy. They call it seizures. And there was an old drug the doctor gave me called Epilin. I think it's back on the market now. Back in the day, a drug called Phenobarb and Dilantin. I know they give it Tegretol. But I used to use a drug called Epilin when I had seizures. But I had my seizures in my sleep. If I'm dozing, I would get seizures. Some people have it when they're up. They call petit mal. I didn't have the petit mal seizure. I had the one when I was dozing, so I would beat up and stuff, and then if somebody next to me they sit to me, they see something moving up in my neck and going to my brain, and so you know, migraines and high blood pressure, and then when I had the stroke, that had me thinking because when my mom died from the second stroke, my mom had 2 strokes. Her sister had a stroke and her sister died, and then my mom had high blood pressure also, and then she had a stroke. And then she died from the second stroke. And then I was eating the same way my mom been eating. So eating at night, eating lamb chops, you know, the regular food that a lot of people eat on a regular basis. I was eating those, smoking weed, you know. I was never I was never alcohol smoker, but I was a smoker of cigarettes too. After the stroke, then I ended up in the ER when the ambulance came. The guys and the EMT guys checked my pressure. He said, "So you got pressure in your family, man?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Who have it?" I said, "My mom." And he turned to me and he said, "You're next in line, man." So
Whoa.
because I couldn't speak, you know. That's what
Wow.
I teach people every day when you're having a stroke. You have to be very, you have to know what the symptoms are, because I could,
Mm-hmm.
the words took a long time to come out.
Mm.
Hotel holder who was there with me at a particular time, she was learning the same medicine that I went to learn now. She was learning Chinese medicine. And when she realized that I could not speak, she she put some needles in some of the meridians, and
Right.
then some of the words start coming out. So when the guy came and checked my pressure, I could have tell him my mom had it. So they took me to the ER, and then I spent about 3 hours in there. After I came to the ER, I, tell them I'm doing an interview. When I came to the ER, I was taking 6 drugs.
Whoa.
I was on one for, that's why I know all of them. I know the ACE inhibitors, I know the beta blockers,
Right.
the calcium channel blockers, I know the bearzide, I know the
Right.
hydrochloride, I know all of them. So they had me on all those drugs, and then they said to me, I have to take these drugs for the rest of my life.
Hmm.
And then I thought that was a death sentence to me. So I said, this is my life. I said, yeah. And I started taking these drugs, and then after a while, penis can't work.
Mm.
Because some of these drugs, because I was taking a beta blocker,
Uh-huh.
and that beta blocker is called atenolol. And I was taking Zestril, Linezolid, the same drug, the ACE inhibitor. And I was taking nifedipine. I was taking bearzide. I was taking a
Mm.
cholesterol drug. I was taking an aspirin. I was taking a lot of them. And then
Mm-hmm.
after a while, you know, you're taking these drugs that what the beta blockers do, they slow up the heartbeat. So that once the heartbeat slows up, the cholesterol rises. So they give you a cholesterol drug. Once the heartbeat slows up, then there's no blood going to the penis. So you start to have what we call ED, erectile dysfunction.
Erectile dysfunction,
Yeah,
yes.
because of the beta blockers. So long term, I wanted to get off these drugs.
Right.
And but the doctors were saying to me, if I get off these drugs, I'm gonna get what we call a revolving stroke. So I went to a doctor called Dr. Wu in Chinatown.
Uh-huh.
Dr. Wu looked at the drugs, and he said to me, he's a medical doctor too, but he does Chinese medicine.
Mm-hmm.
He said to me, he said, you know, you have to come off these drugs, man. I said, the doctor said I can't come off. He said, that's not true. He said, you can wean yourself off gradually. And that's
Right.
what I did. It took me 6 months.
Wow.
Wean myself off of them.
I know you didn't want to be on I know you didn't want to be on those drugs. I
Yeah.
know you didn't, because like you said, you take one thing for something, and then now you have to take another drug to
Yeah.
counteract that. And next thing you know, you have a medicinal chest.
Yeah. And then because a lot of the ACE inhibitors, what they do is they deplete zinc from the body.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
when we need zinc in the thymus gland, if there's not enough
Right.
in the thymus shrink. And then the same ACE inhibitors increases potassium in the blood, so it can affect the heart. So what they do is, once the ACE inhibitors increase potassium, they give you what we call a diuretic to move the excessive amount of potassium out. That's good. But then you start lacking in potassium, so they give you another drug called Slowcane to put back the potassium.
Mm. Isn't that something? I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny. It's like it's laughable.
Yeah. So you end up taking one drug, and that same one drug you will take called you to
Right.
take about 5 or 6 drugs eventually. So I came off, and I came off all these drugs. I fixed my epilepsy. And then I went to school, and I learned, because this Chinese doctor was so good in teaching me. So I went and I
Mm-hmm.
learned the profession, you know. Yeah.
That's right.
So what I do,
Wow.
I come out and I try to educate our people, and then I try to mix the two herbs together, the Western herb, the Chinese herb, and now I'm learning about the Caribbean plants. So I make them into a combination of 3, and I
Mm-hmm.
seem to get good results with those. So that's why I teach people now about high blood pressure and how to avoid it, or if they do have it, if the blood vessels is not damaged, they can repair it, because you have to find the cause of it. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So now I don't
And you,
smoke. I don't
mm-hmm.
do nothing out of the way. I stay clean. I fast a lot. I do programs every 6 weeks. I go on a fast, and I clean my system
Mm-hmm.
out, and I keep my heart healthy. And my pressure now is 110/70.
Woo, look at that with a smile. Oh my goodness. But it
Yeah,
took time. It took time for you to get there,
yeah,
right?
because you see, nothing out here is a fast fix, you know. A
That's
lot of
right.
people feel when they have high blood pressure for 15 years, they can come and take some herbs and come off like that. It doesn't work like that. You can't just come off
Mm-hmm.
the medication because a lot of the time, if you come off the beta blockers, like that Telenol, your heart start beating kind of quick. So you have to wean yourself off these drugs gradually, and then you have to find out what is causing you to have high blood pressure.
High blood pressure.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
my blood pressure came from my endocrine system, you know, all the
Mm.
glands, and especially my thyroid gland and my adrenal glands, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to fix my stressful levels and stuff and change my eating habits. And here I'm high blood pressure free. No,
Isn't
I
that
don't have no
something?
migraines. I don't
That's
have no epilepsy, you know.
I mean, that is, you have to say that with a smile,
Yeah,
because you're true to it. And then when I watch your lives, when you speak about it, you know it to be true.
yeah,
You can't force people to do it, but this is what it is, and this is what you need to do. And another thing I find that sometimes folks don't understand is you have to prepare the body. Unfortunately, sometimes we get afflicted with certain things,
yeah,
and then the doctor gives you a diagnosis, and then they take the medicine, they feel like they're not doing better, and then they rush to holistic medicine, and it's like, oh, it's not working, but it takes time. It's no
yeah.
different than a detox. There's
Right.
no such thing as detox in the body in 1 day, in 2 days, in three
It don't
days.
happen. It don't
It
happen like
doesn't happen exactly.
that. You know, it's because I always tell the people that from since infancy, since
Mm-hmm.
we are infants, we keep on putting food in our mouth, and then we tell the digestive system to shut up and take all this garbage for 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
But when the
Yeah.
disease develop long term, that disease or disorder cannot be repaired in 2 weeks
No.
and 1 month. They're just like cancer.
Exactly.
If cancer could have just go away in 1 month, that
Mm-hmm.
same oncologist would not be giving you chemotherapy for 6 months. Because you know for a fact that the cancer can go away in 1 month. So you give you chemo for 12 cycles, 14 cycles, 20 cycles, and still put you back on an intravenous or pill chemotherapy also. So he
Yeah.
knows for a fact that the cancer don't go away in 1 or 2 months. It's the same
That's
as
right.
medicine. It don't go
That's
away like
right.
that. You have to spend
That's right.
time, and you have to change your lifestyle and your diet, and you have to work on the on the lower burner, and you have to work on the middle burner.
Mm.
Just-
Patrick, you too much. You definitely gonna have to come back. We're gonna talk about that other one, that C word, that's afflicting so many
yes,
people.
yes.
The diabetes today, diabetes and hypertension. And the
Yeah.
two of them are interchangeable, correct? They kind of like
They
they
work
work
like brothers and sisters.
right. They're brothers and sisters. Thank
Yeah,
you. That's a better way to put it. So
right.
diabetes is actually, from the Greek word meaning siphon.
Mhm.
Isn't that right?
Yes,
And that means to pass through,
right.
right? And so we're going to talk a little bit about the diabetes, and which is the fact that your body doesn't make enough insulin, right?
No, no. That's if you have that's juvenile onset diabetes. That's totally
Mm.
different. So you
See,
have
that's why we
juvenile
have the
onset.
expert on.
You
Hmm.
have juvenile onset diabetes, and you have diabetes mellitus.
Mellitus, right, which is the Latin word for sweet.
Right, that's type 2 diabetes.
Right.
And you have the
Okay.
juvenile
Okay.
diabetes, which affects children.
Uh-huh.
But you rightfully said a while ago about insulin deficiency. Lots of people who have diabetes and they're grown, although they have diabetes mellitus, which is type 2 diabetes, they
Mm-hmm.
can also become type 1, whereby the endocrine part of the pancreas is not producing insulin at all.
Mm.
Period. The problem with diabetes is sometimes it's a very complex disease, but you can fix it. Yeah.
Mm.
The problem with diabetes is lots of the time the doctors do not look at if the person have insulin resistance, or if they have insulin sensitivity, or if they have insulin deficiency. See? So insulin deficiency means that the endocrine part of the pancreas is not producing insulin at all. So you have to shoot it. Yeah? Happens to young children because either a virus can attack the pancreas and kill it, or some kind of autoimmune disease whereby the immune system can attack the pancreas also and kill the pancreas. And that's because lots of parents in the Caribbean countries also put their children on what we call a sugar diet before they turn to be 2 years old. And because the children molar is not being manifested, the pancreas become overburdened, and then that child long term can develop type 1 diabetes if you introduce foods in the child's diet at 6 to 18 months.
Isn't that something?
A lot of people didn't know that.
It's so true. I mean, because you follow what you know. Exactly. You know, so if Auntie So was doing this, if Grandma was doing this, then you follow, but you don't realize the damage that you're causing. Yep. You know, unbeknownst to you. It really does pay to pay attention. But the other part of it is that some people don't know where to go. You know, if you don't know the questions to ask, how do you know to ask them? So if you're just following, you know, and then the child keeps going to the bathroom, you're like, oh boy, stop drinking so much in the daytime, you know, or don't drink so much before you go to bed. When in fact it has nothing to do with the child, you know, urinating so much. Exactly. Yeah. You know, that's one of the symptoms.
Yeah, and thirsty. They feel thirsty a lot too.
The thirst, right. Yeah. Wow.
So the next one is called insulin resistance. And that is what a lot of people have, especially when the person is overweight. Yeah. So you go to a doctor, and the doctor check, and he give you an A1C, and the A1C reads 300 milligram per deciliter. Yeah. And he put you on a drug called metformin, which is a dangerous drug. Yeah. And he realized now that the metformin is not dropping your sugar levels down properly. So the doctor don't do no investigation, and he puts you on insulin thinking that you are insulin deficient. Yeah. But because he never look and investigate to see if you are insulin resistant, he puts you on insulin. Now, if you are insulin resistant and the doctor puts you on insulin, he in turn is giving you a double whammy because you are still producing insulin from the endocrine part of the gland, but he give you more insulin and you inject more of the insulin, and then your arteries become very hard because of too much insulin, and then you get troubles in your heart long term because he give you a double whammy, giving you more insulin, not knowing that you were suffering from insulin resistance. So insulin resistance is work like this. The receptors, each endocrine gland have a receptor. And these receptors produces hormones which are messengers. Yeah, the body's very wise. So usually when you have diabetes and you have insulin resistance, there is something that's clogging up the receptors so that the insulin can't get in to open the door, because insulin is like a key that goes into a keyhole, and it opens the door, and then the sugar goes in, and then you burn sugar as fuel because sugar goes up and out. You follow me now?
Wow.
Right. Now, if there is fats like cholesterol, because the person is overweight, and the fat is blocking, so you have a fatty liver.
Right.
Because the liver is not producing enough bile salts to turn the fat into droplets, the fats become stagnated and get into either the gallbladder, in the bile duct with the pancreas, or it gets into the receptor, and then all of a sudden the insulin comes and say, oh my goodness, I can't get in because there's too much fats. So the sugar spill in your bloodstream and you get diabetes because you have insulin resistance. You see, now what we do is we make the person lose the weight.
Right.
Get rid of the fat on the receptors.
Right.
Fix diabetes if it is insulin resistance.
Resistance.
Follow me,
Isn't that something?
right?
Isn't that something?
If it
Mm-hmm,
is
mm-hmm.
insulin sensitivity,
Right.
you, Gina, can eat 2 slices of bread and your
Uh-huh.
sugar stays normal. And I, Patrick, will go and eat 2 slices of bread and my sugar goes real high, over 200 milligram per deciliter. So that's what we call insulin sensitivity. If you are
Mm.
insulin sensitivity, then we look at how you are eating the foods and we kind of break them down into pieces to see how the pancreas will tolerate these sugars.
Right.
You see?
So now how are you able to figure, how is this figured out? Is this through the labs that return? You see,
No, you see,
how are you able to, how is a person able to know that they're insulin resistant? Because the doctors don't tell anything. So if
right.
someone were to come to you, how would you be able to make that determination? Is it from the labs that they provide you with and you review the labs, or is it through a food journal that they will keep?
Well,
And
that's a good question.
mhm.
You know, the doctors don't pay attention to that. They put you on a drug.
Right, right,
So we said to the person, okay, look at the overweight. So if the person comes to me and they're very heavy, if the person says 5 feet, 5 inches, and they
right.
weigh 250 pounds, yeah, that's overweight already. So we know for a fact that a person, if they do have diabetes, it is a possibility 90% of the time that they have insulin resistance. So I put them on a
Mm.
weight loss program while
Hmm.
I am giving the pancreas in the exocrine part of the gland now enzymes, because the exocrine part of the pancreas produces enzymes and the endocrine part of the pancreas produces insulin. And remember that the
Wow.
pancreas is also part of the digestive system. It is the
Yes,
most
it is.
enzyme there because it also produces pilatin to help to normalize the stomach acid in the stomach. Yeah, but it also produces sodium bicarbonate to send into the ileum of the small intestines to change the pH there to be more alkaline, because the pancreas functions in an alkaline terrain of 8.0, 8.3. Now, if the person
Hmm.
have diabetes
Right,
and say they're eating what we call uh, 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 refined carbohydrate diet,
right.
they in turn can change the pH in the secretion of the pancreas, causing that pH to go from 8.0 to 5.0, which is acidic. Yeah. Now the
Mm.
pancreas will work there, but the problem with that is it burns up the exocrine part of, in terms of the enzyme, that is, it burns up the enzyme function of the pancreas, because the pancreas says, oh my goodness, I supposed to be functioning in a pH of 8.0, 8.3. No, I'm there at 5.0, too acidic. So I have to work extra hard now to burn up, to release all these enzymes,
Hmm.
protease, lipase, amylase. And now you burn up the enzyme function of the pancreas because
Hmm.
it is functioning in an acid terrain, and then you can get diabetes from that too.
Mm-mm-mm.
It's
I
so
don't know about anybody else listening, but I'm telling you, tell a friend to tell a friend. Come
yeah,
on, like, subscribe, let them know what's happening, because
yeah,
I know that I have never gone to a doctor that has explained to me what is actually going on. You go to a doctor and something is not right, then they pull out their pad. Nowadays, they'll go in another room and they just put it on their iPad, and next thing you know, they're asking you, "Oh, what's your pharmacist?" And you go and then you pick up the medicine. But I've long since known that there are reasons why things happen. Don't just tell me to take this medicine, because I'm going to question you on it. You know, one time I questioned my primary care physician, and she was dumbfounded. And it's not that I don't think that she knew the answer to the question, but I believe it's because she's not used to being asked questions. A lot of times when we go to the doctor, or folks go to the doctor, they take what the doctor is saying for gospel, and that's that. No
yeah,
one does their research before. See, I'm a
exactly.
person that will do my research so that I can have a more intelligent conversation with the doctor. Well, let's talk. If you tell me that I'm going to put me on this medicine, well, why? You see, and as deep as you got into, there's an understanding. Sure, it makes some time to really get it, and maybe hearing it 2 and 3 and 4 times. I mean, you have over 35 years experience, so for you, it's just like, okay. But I mean, how many of us can go to a doctor and get a true understanding of what is going on? This is amazing. Click like and subscribe, everybody. Go. We got Patrick Dales. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
You know,
Patrick's here to let us know. So
you
now
see, a lot of doctors don't think out of the box.
No.
Because you see, remember that when a doctor goes to medical school, he was taught about one thing. When you go back out into the public, you tell the people there's no cure for nothing. He was programmed, to think that way. I mean, there are a lot of doctors now who is open-minded, who are alternative, and they're saying, no, there is another way of repairing these conditions. But the average doctor of there is not thinking out of the box. He was just going to teach what he was taught in medical school. And that's the reason why you have people on high blood pressure medication for life. You have people on diabetic medication for life. You have people in the Caribbean countries losing their limbs to diabetes, losing their eyes, diabetic retinopathy, losing their nerves, diabetic neuropathy, losing their kidney, dialysis long term, because they were not taught how to take care of the pancreas and the kidney. You see?
It's so true. We don't, I mean, but again, if you don't know the questions to ask, you don't know. You think you're taking the medicine. And then the other unfortunate thing that happens is that you take the medicine and guess what? You're still eating the same way.
Exactly. See, that's the problem. See?
Right. Because
so
you think
so what I did was I created a diabetic program for diabetics. And in that program, what I asked the person or the patient to do is to retrain the pancreas. You know what I mean? To push back the pH back into an alkaline terrain of 8.0, 8.3. That's what I do. And on that 30 day of doing that program, a lot of the 100% of the people say, oh my goodness, I never knew my sugar levels going to be in the double digits in the morning, because they're always triple digits, 200, 300 milligram per deciliter. Now they say that 80 and 70, because what I did was I removed all refined carbohydrate from the diet. I removed all fruits from the diet, because a lot of people say, well, fruits are natural sugars. Yes, they are. But if the pancreas is not retrained properly, even the natural sugars can spike up the sugar levels too and make it come down pretty slow. So I retrained the pancreas, and then after the 30 days, I made them bring back in a small amount of natural complex carbohydrate back into the diet, because the complex carbohydrate cause the sugar to go up slow and come down fast. Whereby the refined carbohydrate cause the sugar to go up fast and come down slow. So I teach them how to fix their diabetes, and then they could wean themselves of the medication. Secondly, if anyone want to repair diabetes, they have to learn about food combining.
I learned that from you, Patrick.
Right.
I had no idea.
If you don't learn about food combining, you can never fix diabetes, because you're going to always have that secretion of the pancreas functioning in an alkaline terrain. So, if you're eating a piece of potato, when you put a potato in your mouth and you chew that piece of potato, that piece of yam, your saliva produces an enzyme called amylase that starts breaking down that potato and that yam into sugar chains.
Right.
When you swallow that yam and the yam gets into the stomach, the acid that the stomach produces kills the amylase that breaks down the yam and the potato, so the yam and the potato cannot stay in your stomach. It moves into the small intestines, and then your pancreas and your small intestine produces a little bit more of that same enzyme to finish the digestive process of the yam, the potato, the rice, and all other starches in your intestines. So by nature, no starch not supposed to be digested in your stomach at all. They can't stay, because the acid kills the amylase that breaks them down. Protein have the same problem too. So if you eat a piece of chicken, which is a protein, or a piece of
Right.
the protein. When that get to the stomach, the acid also kills the protease that breaks down the protein, but the protein have a backup called pectin that resists the acid. So all protein digests in your stomach. Now, you eating a piece of protein, a piece of fish with a piece of yam, and it goes into the stomach, the yam can never go. He have to wait till the fish or the chicken digests. Fish take 12 hours in the stomach to digest. Chicken takes 7 hours. If the yam is in the stomach with the fish or the chicken, he have to wait. And if the fish take 12 hours, the yam will take 12 hours waiting for the fish to digest. And while he's waiting, he is fermenting.
I tell you, I got right. Go ahead.
After the fish digests, then the potato said, okay, I'm going to move, but I'm going to move undigested, but he's also fermented already. So he goes into the small intestines, being so fermented that the pancreas can't do the job. And then he have to wait now, the chicken that is, still have to wait in the stomach to finish the process of digestion. So you have what we call a traffic jam. So you have first meal, it isn't there. The second meal, me the first meal, and the third meal, me the second meal, because the first meal just going, and they call it traffic jam. And when you're in a traffic jam, you know what happens? You blow your horn, God, come into the way.
And nobody moving, because right.
So when you have a traffic jam, or you cause a traffic jam in the digestive system, we call the middle burner, which is the stomach, and the lower burner, which is the small intestines. You're gonna have troubles long term because the organs now is going to start to give you troubles long term, including the pancreas, and he gives you diabetes. And when you have troubles down in the lower burner, because you have a traffic jam, they call it Crohn's disease, and they call it IBS, and they call it mucus colitis, and they call it celiac disease, and they call it colitis, and they call it all these different names.
And it's all because, we're mixing the foods. Because I saw you one time on a live, and you said, the potato was saying beep, beep, and then the meat is saying oop, up, and then everybody's like, and it makes sense to me. And I said to myself, wait a minute, so then at that time, right, I was going to have some fish. And sometimes, you say you might have, laughing, but you said so.
But long term, eating that way can cause not only diabetes, it can cause any inflammatory disease in the digestive system or elsewhere, and even cancer can develop long term from that way of eating. So you have to have what we call fast transit time, because when the transit time is very slow, it starts to create what we call ketol in the bowels, formaldehyde in the bowels, and all these chemicals start eating up the walls of the colon area, and then automatically you have all these inflammatory bowel disorders that say cannot be repaired.
Isn't that something? And you never know, because sometimes, I know, I have some fish, right? And then you'll have some rice with the fish. I'm telling you, you scared me straight. I watched your live one time, and you said, oh, no. And so ever since then, if I had some fish, it was with vegetables.
There you go.
I said no because Patrick said so. That's my whole thing. Patrick said so. You know what I mean? And I know certain things, just quickly, I mentioned to you that I was bloating, and we're going to have another show on this, but I found myself bloating in the morning, and I didn't understand what was happening. And then I saw you on a live, and you spoke about the time of day that you eat food, because it's not just about what you eat, but it's also about the time of day that you eat foods.
Exactly.
So I know that particular time I was eating bananas in the morning and maybe having some nuts with the bananas, and I'm just, And then when I heard you say you don't eat bananas, you eat bananas between 11 and 5, right? Yep. Because the pancreas does not wake up until around that time.
That's what I'm saying.
And the pancreas is responsible for digestion. Yes, I am a student. Yes. And let me tell you, it took about maybe like 3 to 4 weeks that I noticed that the bloating went down, because I no longer ingested the bananas before the time that I was supposed to ingest them. Additionally, you also talked about the fact that bananas are a cooling fruit.
Yeah. Fruits are
So in
cooling
the
food.
afternoon, right, our bodies are warm, so we have the cooling fruit, and so it's easier to digest, you know,
Yep.
and it makes sense. I'm telling you, when I lost the little bit, the little belly I had, I said, wait a minute, that is not what he's talking about. I said, he's what he's talking about. I'm telling you, folks are coming in, and they said we have some hi Gina, great to see you. We have some folks are saying, welcome, Patrick. Um, we have Patrick, good to see you and hear you. That's Dawn. We have someone, Ramonia Morrison. She's asking if she can naturally beat triple negative breast C. So we're gonna have another show on that, but
Okay.
with that.
But that's from
Mhm.
the BRCA gene, the BRCA1
Okay.
gene. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah,
long, that's a long program.
we definitely going to do a cancer program for sure.
Yes,
But the
definitely.
answer is yes, but there's a lot to it. There's a lot to
Yes.
it. So,
Yes.
we're getting the body together. We have Jai Youth. He says, while asking questions are good to the doctor, oftentimes they speak in medical terms and using medical jargon that makes the patient feel uncomfortable. And that's very true. It almost makes the patient feel like, I don't want to ask. But see, me, I'm going to ask you. I'm not testing you in your degree, but you're not going to tell me something and I cannot ask you or feel intimidated. But I know there are people who feel intimidated.
Well,
We have Lenny.
what people should learn is that
Uh-huh.
a lot of the languages that the doctors speak, all these big
Right.
words, don't
Yes.
mean nothing. So when they say
Not a
anything
thing.
with an itis, you know that's inflammation. Colitis, mucus colitis, sinusitis, arthritis, they're all inflammation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's true. Because even when I tell you one time when I went to see my doctor and she's telling me this and telling me that, I said, I'm looking at her and I'm all I can think of, honest to goodness, is you need to go on a detox. I mean, her hair was stringy, her face was pasty. And I said, they're out here telling us this, that, and the other, but they're not even healthy. So how can they really advise us? You know what I'm saying? So we had Lenny Green.
They die younger than us, you know.
Talk about it. We have Lenny Green. The conversation is quite insightful.
So
So,
they only reached my age period. They die in the 50s.
so one of the other things I just on diabetes, I had a family member, and I shared the link, and I asked him to take a look, the link on the show, and I asked him to take a look at it, and he responded and he said, had you asked me about 3 weeks ago to look at the show, or even 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have been able to do so. As a matter of fact, I couldn't even read your text. So he went on to tell me that I know he had the diabetes, but working from home, the he's just eating more now.
Right.
You're sitting around and you're eating, and the diabetes got worse.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is that the sugar rushed to behind his eyes.
Yeah.
And you know that those vessels are very small.
It called an attached retina.
So he said what happened is that they burst, and now the blood was raining down, so to speak, and he couldn't see. And I never thought that the eyeball is an extremity.
Oh yeah.
And so in that conversation, I learned so much, with him telling me what he was experiencing,
Yeah.
And then so now when the limbs now, how the amputation of the limbs because you have the diabetes, and like what is it that would cause that to happen? I know the gangrene sets in, but what?
Right. Because lots of diabetics, as I said before, if they get neuropathy,
Mm-hmm.
it damages the nerves.
Mm-hmm.
If the nerves are damaged, then the
Mm-hmm.
muscles going to be damaged too, because the nerves have to feed the muscles so that the muscles can contract. So lots of the time, because the diabetics have a high sugar level, they either spill into the urine and cause damage to the kidney, or the
Right.
protein stays high in the urine and also damages the nephrons. They call GFR, glomerular filtration rate. or the creatinine, which is a byproduct of protein metabolism in the muscles, that will go high because of too much sugar in the blood or too much protein in the bloodstream. And then once the creatinine goes high, it starts damaging the nephrons. And then the doctor starts treating you. Then number two, if the sugar remains high for a long period of time, because you only lose your limbs to diabetes if you are not controlling your sugar levels for over 3 to 4 years. You don't have to high. And all of a sudden now you have what we call bad circulation because the blood can't flow. When the blood can't flow, you have what we call blood stasis in Chinese medicine. That's what we call it. Blood stagnation. The blood can't move. So it makes all the part of the legs or the hand start swelling. And then automatically, because there's no movement of the blood now, they get stagnation and they get blackness. And then the doctors have to remove these parts of the limbs because of diabetic retinopathy, neuropathy.
Yeah, I mean it's serious. I know someone who had that neuropathy, and it was so bad, and it was so painful to watch that person with the neuropathy, and they lost their leg, and then they lost some toes, and then in the end, they also,
when
at
the
the end
toe, they come to the big toe. When the big toe, they come to the ankle. Come to the ankle, go to the leg.
Yeah.
So we had taken out the lady from the hospital because they wanted to take out the instep, and we took her back home. And because she had a big ulcer in the instep, and we repaired it in about 2 weeks. Because you see, doctors doesn't have time to spend with the patient, to say to them, look, listen to me. In order for you to prevent your foot from being amputated, you have to look at how you eat in the foods. You have to go back home and get the sugar to go down and eat some cinnamon, some ginger, move the blood a little bit. We didn't have no time to teach you that. So that's what we taught the lady. We took her out of the hospital, we took her back home, and we put her on a program, and she saved her instep. They didn't cut it off. You see what I'm saying?
You see that? It's just a matter of, it's a matter of knowing, because the same person that I'm talking about, after all of that cutting, the very last thing that was amputated was the penis.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was tough. So now, let's bring in a little bit of the hypertension,
right,
and the correlation with the two.
Well, if you have diabetes
and
your sugar level is very high, and if you're on insulin, if you're taking what we call Lantus, or Novolog or Humalog, it's insulin that is, and remember that the insulin comes from the pig. So everybody who's saying they doesn't eat no pork.
They don't eat pork, right? For all of those that are on insulin, that's pork, right? It comes from the pig.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if the insulin is not, if you are producing insulin,
right,
but your beta cells is not utilizing the insulin properly, automatically they will put you on insulin. And as I said before earlier, that insulin can harden the arteries, causing your high blood pressure to rise because it affects your heart.
So now let's say if you don't have diabetes, but you have high blood pressure.
Right. Now, high blood pressure can come from different places. In the medical system, they have one called essential hypertension. And essential hypertension is telling your doctor that there's no cause. It doesn't know what's causing it. And that's not even true. Because for every mistake or problem in the body, there is a cause. So you can get or have high blood pressure from the adrenal glands. Right. So if the adrenal gland is producing too much cortisol because you're stressed, the stress hormone that is, or if the adrenals is producing too much adrenaline, these hormones, that compounds, can get into the bloodstream and cause the heart to palpitate. And that's the reason why when we have that what we call fight and flight response, you're going to run behind you. If a dog running behind you, running from the dog, your heart going to beat fast, isn't it? That's because you have lots of adrenaline rushing into the bloodstream. Now, if that adrenaline keep on moving into the blood on a regular basis, if you're not going through that fight and flight response, it can affect your heart and give you hypertension long term. That's one cause. The thyroid gland, right here. If the thyroid gland is overactive, it can also cause you to get hypertension. If the lung is not it's not working properly, the lung can get caused to have what we call pulmonary hypertension. You see, the kidney, which is the main organ that controls the heart, is the water organ of the body. It produces a hormone called renin, and the purpose of the renin is to normalize a person's pressure. If the kidney is not in good working condition, the kidney can in turn also reduce the amount of renin being produced in the kidney and cause you to get hypertension, because the kidney controls the heart and the heart controls the kidney. The kidney is water and the heart is fire and the lung is metal. What out fire? Water. So the kidney controls the heart. What burn metal? Fire. So the heart controls the lung. So they work together. See?
Yeah.
If you have blood vessel disease, meaning that you grow up eating lots of greasy foods and fattening food and fried food on a regular basis, and then automatically you start to damage the blood vessels.
Right.
You can get blood vessel disease and get an aneurysm in the brain, but you can also clog up the carotid artery, and then in the process, it can damage your heart. You can get hypertension from that. If you lose your gallbladder, or you have gallbladder troubles, there is a meridian or channel from the gallbladder coming into the heart muscle.
Right.
You can also get high blood pressure from the gallbladder. You can also get high blood pressure from the liver. You can also get high blood pressure from the lower burner called the small intestine, right over there. See it over there? Right here. This guy right here. If he's all messed up and you can't have waste sitting inside here, it could affect your heart. Because he's a lower burner. That's where all the garbage is at, inside there. If he can get the garbage,
right,
garbage come back into the portal vessel, right in the here over there, back to Fletcher.
Right.
That's because the heart needs pure blood with nutrients from the coronary artery. If that can happen, it's going to affect your heart. So the pressure come from different places. Once you know where the pressure is coming from, you can fix high blood pressure.
Isn't that something? It comes back to the same, but it's the same thing, Patrick. No matter what it is that you're afflicted with, whatever they tell you that you have to know where it derives from.
Yes.
Right? That's basically what it is. And then we can treat it. But it's very important not to be on insulin and eat all the cakes that you want to eat. Poorly managing, because the neuropathy is going to come and hit you fast, hard, and furious, and then also amputations, like we talked about. And then the same thing with high blood pressure medicine, because you're on it, that doesn't mean that you should be eating salty foods, because again, you're trying to manage. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it would seem as if you're trying to manage your high blood pressure with the medicine, as opposed to eating differently. Even if you give yourself a break, even if you say every other week, I'm going to fast, and give your liver a break, give your organs a break. I asked somebody one time, I said, when you fall asleep, do you like somebody to wake you up? No, I like to sleep. I said, so imagine when you turn around and you eat after 7 and you eat at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. That's exactly what you're doing to your organs. You're shaking them. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. And it's not fair. They don't want to wake up. Right. And then now, you eat at 9 o'clock, you eat at 10 o'clock at night. Then now you wake up in the morning and you're eating again. So when I stop eating at 7 o'clock at night, I don't break my fast until 10 o'clock. So that's literally 16 hours a day I fast.
Right. That's what they call it, break fast.
That's right. I break my fast at 10 o'clock, Patrick. I have somebody that said, I had yam and potatoes with fish just three days ago. I may need to run to the hospital. I'm scared now. See, when people understand, what's happening. I have Kim saying that you're speaking a lot of knowledge.
The person has to be scared. It's just that they have to change their own eating habits. So we have a BioLife program. They can go to my website and download it for free. It's a free program. It's called the website is Patrick Delves holistichealing.com. You look for the BioLife program, and it's a free download. You just download that program and get it into your phone, and it explains how all the organs work in an alkaline terrain, and then it explains all the foods, the proteins, the starches, the fruits, and the carbohydrates, and how they should be eaten together, so that you can know how to combine your foods for optimum health. Because at the end of the day, our food's supposed to be used as medicine, but the food is killing us.
It is.
You
It's
see?
killing us because it's they're being grown synthetically. That's one way.
Yeah.
The other way it's killing us is because we're combining foods and we're making it toxic.
Right. And
You
then we're
know?
eating the foods at the wrong time of the day. Because I know for a lot of men who go home in the evening time, 7 o'clock, and the wife gives them a plate of food with fish and rice and peas and ripe plantain and yam and tanya. And he does that for 20 years. And when he gets to the age of 40 and 50, he's trying to figure out why he got high blood pressure. Because she didn't know better, because she was killing him unconsciously, because she was taught by her mother how to cook. So she
Yeah.
cooked the same way her mother been cooking for her father. And she gave her husband the same disease that her father had, or her
You see
mother had.
that? Right. And then it becomes a conversation around the table or from periodically, oh wow, you know, my mom had high blood pressure, my dad had high blood pressure, but nobody's talking about, you know what? My mom ate this way. My dad ate this way. You know, nobody's really
Genetics.
talking exactly
They call it
how we're
genetics.
eating and how it affects you. You know what I'm saying? And then you know you're sick after, and then or you'll say to someone, well, maybe you shouldn't eat that. Oh, I gotta eat. That's another story too. The
Crazy stuff.
addiction to sugar, addiction to cheese. That's a whole nother show again. You know,
Yeah.
Patrick, you got to come back.
Yes, man.
I'm telling you, you have to come back. I mean, folks around here, they're going crazy here. Knowledge,
Here what I
knowledge
ask
is
them. Here what I ask them, right? I eat one meal per day. My first meal is at 3 o'clock. That's it. In the morning, I have what we call a phytonutrient drink of greens, phytonutrients, everything plant based. And then at 3 o'clock, I don't eat after 3. Anything after 3 have to be juices or water. Yeah. So between 8 p.m. and 1 a.m. is when all the endocrine glands regenerated. And they cannot have nothing sitting in the middle burner of the digestive system because it won't can regenerate. Between the hours of 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning is when the liver is regenerated. You're not supposed to have food. Between the hours of 3 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. in the morning, your kidney is not picking up all the acid from the tissues because he deals with the acid alkaline balance and he's pushing it out in the urine in the morning, so you must pee. So they said to me, Mr. Dells, you eat once per day. You have to be malnourished. I said, how come? I said, how many times you eat per day? Man, I have to eat 3 or 4 meals per day. I said, okay. You have a problem? Yeah, I have high blood pressure. I'm taking 3 pills and I have diabetes. So I said to them, I am eating 1 meal per day, 3 days per week. And you eating 3 meals or 4 meals every day. And the hospital full of you. Not me. They don't see me. The sick care building don't see me at all. But they see you all. And you're only eating 3 meals per day. So if you are eating 3 meals per day, and you have all these conditions like cancers and diabetes and hypertension, eye troubles, and I don't have them, who is malnourished?
Talk about it, Patrick. And we don't even talk about the fact that that food, when you go into the hospital, that they feed you, that is also continuing to contribute to the reason why you're in there. I mean, listen, Patrick, you got to come back. You have to come back. I don't want to let you go, but I have to.
We're going to come back next time.
Spell out the website. It's Patrick Dells,
Dells, holistichealing.com. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
And Ambrosia Health Foods, AmbrosiaHealthFoods.com.
Yes, AmbrosiaHealthFoods.com.
You go to the website for diabetes. See there?
Yeah.
Diabetic
and
formula.
There's another. I have
We have one for circulation formula. If the men have ED and they can't get an erection, give them that. Ambrosia.
All right, Ambrosia.
We have one for the heart. See? Heart health.
We got the heart medicine. This here is the Candida and the parasite blend, because a lot of people don't also, we didn't even touch on that either, that how the yeast.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that next time.
We're going to come back, Patrick. All right, everybody has to hear Patrick say he's coming back. Patrick, you coming back?
I'm coming back, Gina, definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, people are just going People are just going berserk. I mean, they're just absolutely loving. We have someone that said they're loving the combo of biochemistry and herbal care. Also, diet and exercise are key. Medication won't do it all. I mean, folks are on here just like, oh my goodness, you just spitting some knowledge, Patrick, and I'm excited. Yes.
Come on. That's something right there. Oh, Ambrosia Health Foods right there, man.
Yes. This man right there.
AmbrosiaHealthFoods.com.
Yes. Patrick, you must come back again. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everybody, who joined us today. We had some fantastic, we definitely had some fantastic comments, and we'll decide. And I'll speak with Patrick, and we'll decide which topic we'll speak about next. I know it's a lot to talk about in an hour, but we try to do the best that we can. We actually went over a little bit because we want to try to get it out, right?
Thank you.
But you take care, and we most certainly will be in contact again. We're providing mad love. Everybody, click like, subscribe, share it, right, Patrick?
Yes.
Share this information. Everybody share with like 5 people. Ask them to watch. Let's bring Patrick back. Isn't that right?
Bless and love.
Blessing love to you too. Right. Okay, we'll talk soon. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I mean, it was just a fantastic show, and by the comments, I mean, everybody's just talking about, please come back. Diana, Elizabeth, Dawn, thank you for joining. Oh my God, Z-Man, AK, Tasha. It's just amazing. I want to definitely provide information. My show is about wellness, and it's everything wellness. So everybody that I have on is about wellness, whether it means that I'm trying to inspire you with something that someone is doing. Maybe you thought about doing it too. So like I said, it's about learning, inspiring, and uplifting. That's what the show is about. Oh my goodness, I have to say thank you to my sponsor, PPI Security, specializing in government, city, state, and government contracts. I thank all of you for joining me. I have a fantastic guest again next week. They're coming. Please feel free if there's somebody that something that you want to talk about. Not certain if I can get them on, but I will certainly do my best. Thank you all again. I appreciate, how we do. We go out with that absolutely fabulous song. So just come on, jig with me just a little bit. And we're gonna sing that mad love.
If you don't show